So yesterday we discussed about how the Bhagavad Gita is not just a book of philosophy. It's a conversation between two people who have a very affectionate, loving relationship between them. And while Krishna's central message seems to be philosophy, but it is philosophy in the service of love. It is. He's expressing his love, and as an expression of his love, he is giving philosophical wisdom to Arjuna. And I discussed from the first chapter onwards how the emotions come out, how Krishna's entry is there, and how when Arjuna is bewildered, how Krishna responds to that. Now Krishna takes him forward step by step by step. So especially we discussed how Krishna is so eager that we devote ourselves to him for any reason it may be. That he says, Udara, so large-hearted. If somebody worships him for any reason. And then I concluded yesterday by talking about how in the 9th chapter, Krishna is not a demanding God, he is a descending God. He descends to lift us up from where we are. And no matter how many bad things we might do, Krishna doesn't stop loving us. We don't have the power to do anything so bad that it will make Krishna stop loving us. And if we just maintain a devotional intention, he will redeem us, he will elevate us. So the 9th chapter ends with one of the famous verses. Krishna is saying, Manmana bhava madbhakto, just fix your mind on me. And that's how the Raja Vidya, the most confidential knowledge, ends. So then we have the 10th chapter, which is known as Vibhuti Yoga, the yoga of the greatness of the Lord. So here again Krishna speaks spontaneously. I discussed yesterday about how there are different questions which Arjuna asks and Krishna answers. But sometimes when Krishna is in ecstasy, delighted to speak a particular point, he just goes on. So the 10th chapter is like that. And in the 10th chapter, he begins by telling, Param bhuya pravakshami jnananam jnanam uttamam bhuya eva mahabaho shrunume paramam vachaha yatteham priyamanaya vakshami hitakamyaya. So, I am speaking this most confidential knowledge to you because you are very dear to me. Bhuya eva mahabaho shrunume paramam vachaha. These are my supreme instructions. Yatteham priyamanaya. Because I consider you very dear to me. Vakshami hitakamyaya. For your benefit I am speaking this. So sometimes if there is an examiner, if there is a teacher who is also the examiner, who is also the exam paper setter, and the teacher wants the students to do well in the exam. So then the teacher may tell you, this is an extremely important point. The idea is the students will understand, okay, this is very important, let me note this down carefully. So similarly, Krishna is telling this is most important, I am speaking for your benefit. And what does Krishna speak thereafter? Krishna speaks about how everything comes from him. And then he speaks over there that if you understand my opulence in this way, then what will happen? So vikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshayaha. If you understand this, you'll be able to fix your mind on me. So avikalpena yogena, your mind will not get distracted here and there. So the idea is, in the 10th chapter, Krishna speaks his glories a lot. In fact, later on, when Arjuna asks, please speak your glories, at that time Krishna will say that Esha tuddeshatah prokta. I'll just speak as an example, as a sample. Actually, nantosti romaya, that actually my glories have no end. So somebody might say, hey, this is really arrogance. Like somebody, if you ask somebody, can you please introduce yourself? Actually, my introduction is endless. But I will just speak briefly. You may say, whether the introduction is endless or not, your ego is surely endless. But when Krishna speaks this way, what is going on? And Krishna is saying that Actually, nothing can exist without me. Atadasti vina yatsya maya bhutam characharam. Nothing can exist without me. Yachapi sarva bhutanam bijam tadaham arjuna. That I am the seed of everything that exists. So Krishna is basically saying that everything that is attractive in the world, it all comes from me. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Śrīmadurjitameva va tattadeva vagachatvam mama tejomsha sambhava. In 10.41 he says that everything that is attractive everywhere, it is a spark of my splendor. So this at one level can seem very egotistic, to think that I am so great. But we see Krishna in this 10.7 is telling, if you understand my glories, what will happen? You will be able to fix your mind on me. So Krishna has a purpose for speaking it. So if Krishna were simply like a very egotistic person, he would first of all not be as a charioteer of Arjuna. He is serving Arjuna. So Krishna's mood is not of dominating and demanding respect. But what does Krishna want? Krishna wants that we connect with him lovingly. Krishna has earlier told how by the path of gradual detachment from matter, we can become liberated. We can become elevated. But that's the first 6 chapters. 7.1 he has said, actually there's another way. And that is, instead of trying to become detached from matter, try to become attached to me. So, now to become attached to someone, to fix the mind on someone, we need to know something about the glories of that person. And Krishna is speaking his glories so that we can fix our mind on him. And when he is doing this, his mood is essentially to persuade us to take the medicine. The medicine is devotional service, is bhakti yoga, is remembrance of the object of devotion. And it's like, suppose there's a person has gone to many doctors, and finally they come to one doctor, and then the doctor gives a prescription, and then this patient says, but actually I went to that doctor, and the doctor was saying like this, and that doctor was saying like that, and that doctor was saying like that. Now if this doctor is the person who has trained all the other doctors in the city, and then the doctor says, actually they are all my students. So whatever knowledge they have, that all comes from me. Now it might seem like bragging, but it is not bragging. The purpose is compassion. The purpose is to persuade the patient to take the medicine. And when that compassionate purpose is there, then even if one is glorifying oneself, what is the intent is important. So Krishna's intent, in a sense, as the Acharya has described, that the whole of Bhagavad Gita, it seems to be like a glorification of Krishna, but actually it is a glorification of Bhakti. Bhakti Devi, Bhakti is so great that even Krishna is conquered by Bhakti. And Krishna is speaking about his glories so that he can convince us about the glory of Bhakti. How great Krishna is, if we understand, then we'll understand, such a great person can be attained by Bhakti, and Bhakti must also be great. So now, and Bhakti is ultimately Srimati Radharani. So from the Gaudiya Vaishnava perspective, actually the whole Bhagavad Gita is a glorification of Srimati Radharani. Although there is no direct reference to Radharani. There are only 2 places in the Bhagavad Gita where indirectly. One is Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha, 9.14. Krishna says, Chatatam Kirtayanto, 9.13. Mahatmanastu Mam Partha, Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. That Daivi Prakriti. This is divine nature. And some other commentators explain that in 2.72 there is the word Brahma. Esha te Brahmi sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimohiyati. So normally Brahman is masculine. There are genders for words. So Brahman is masculine. But this is the word place where Krishna uses the word the Brahmi. Now Brahmi is feminine. So this refers, some commentators say, to Radharani. These are hidden references. But the important thing is, the whole of Bhagavad Gita is a glorification of Krishna for the perfect purpose of glorification of Bhakti, which is Radharani. So in that sense, Krishna is not glorifying himself. Krishna is glorifying the process of Bhakti. So the idea is that Bhakti might seem like a very simple thing. Oh, you come to the temple, bow down, pick up some beads and do some chanting. And people may think this is just ordinary. Many times when devotees have kirtans, say in their neighborhood, some neighbors come in their home, they call people from the neighborhood. Not many come. Some people come, some don't come. So I was in one place in America and the devotees, they were telling me that we said that there is going to be we decided to have a Sakirtan, but we called it a Yajna program. And in the Yajna program, everybody can come and do Ahuti. And he said, all my neighbors, it was like a broad Indian locality, the neighbors who would never come, they all came. They all came just to do some, put some Ahuti, some sacrifice into the fire. But actually they didn't know. By coming, they were hearing the holy name and they were sacrificing their consciousness. So the devotees are also very intelligent. They said, okay, while you are doing this Ahuti, chant Hare Krishna. So they were offering their consciousness. The point I'm making here is that often Bhakti is not considered that special. Oh, Yajna, that's something special. Somebody doing Tapasya, oh, that's special. So Bhakti might seem very simple. So what Krishna is doing is, when he's glorifying himself, he's saying that everything opulent, everything powerful comes from me. Among mountains, I am the Himalayas. Among rivers, I am the Ganga. Among water bodies, I am the ocean. So through it all, he's actually speaking about the great things in the world, which are great in the estimate of people of the world. And if, oh, this is so great, and they're all coming from Krishna, and Krishna is attained by Bhakti, how great Bhakti must be. Therefore, Krishna is glorifying himself to glorify Bhakti. It is like, say, somebody is a very well-known person in society, that they're a celebrity. And then they have a spiritual master. Now, if most people may not know their spiritual master, but people may know this person as a celebrity. And then, if the celebrity speaks about where all they have spoken, what all they have done, and they speak their own glory, but then after that they interrupt, and I take guidance, inspiration, and wisdom from this person who is my guru. What happens? Because people will not consider the guru to be a great person. So we have to convey greatness in people's terms of greatness. The point is not just to get it right. The point is to get it across. To get it across. Speak it in a way that can be understood. So Krishna is speaking his own glories to glorify Bhakti. And now this 10th chapter is very interesting. That at one place Krishna says, Pandavanam aham Dhananjaya. He says, among the Pandavas, I am Arjun. Now when Krishna is speaking this, Arjun thinks that actually he will say Pandavanam aham Yudhishthira. Because Yudhishthira is the most virtuous. But he says Dhananjaya. He says Arjuna. Now there are external reasons and internal reasons for this. The external reason is that actually Pandu initially thought, I will not be able to have any sons. But then he was able to get sons because Kunti had a blessing that she could get sons from the gods. So then he said, actually for a ruler, dharma is most important. So please get a child from dharma who will be very dharmic. And he gets a child from her. Then he feels that actually dharma is good, but dharma alone is not enough. You need Shakti. You need strength. So we need a child who is very strong. And then whom do they get? Bhima. And then he starts thinking that actually dharma and Shakti, both are good, but more than that, what you need is Bhakti. Bhakti and Kala, Samarthya, skill. So he says, I want a child who will be greatly devoted and who is greatly skilled. And that was Arjun. So Arjun was a great devotee And also Arjuna is greatly skilled. He is a champion archer. So Bhima is also great mace fighter, but his strength was his strength. His strong point was his physical strength. In terms of skill, even Duryodhana was somewhat better than him. But so when he gets this Arjun, so he feels very contented. This is a son who can truly protect the kingdom. And there's another reason. When Krishna left Vrindavan, this is explained by Gopal Champu in Gopal Champu by Jiva Goswami. That when Krishna left Vrindavan, where he had stayed in his childhood, from there he was always remembering Vrindavan. And he was always delighted whenever anybody would remind him of Vrindavan. So now among the Gopas, there is one Gopa whose name is Arjun. So therefore Arjun's name would remind Krishna of Vrindavan. And that's why Krishna naturally connected wonderfully with Arjun. So now when he says Pandavanam aham dhananjaya, now what is Arjuna's response over there? Oh Krishna, if we two are one, then let's close the Bhagavad Gita. Why do you need to instruct me? It's not like that. Why not? Because in what sense he's talking about oneness? It's not in a sense of absolute oneness. The whole point is vibhuti. Vibhuti means the idea is that the one above the many comes as the one among the many. The one above the many. That means God exists above all of existence. The one above the many, he comes as the one among the many. So in one sense, Arjuna is just another warrior, another Pandava, another warrior. Or the Himalaya is just one of the mountains, the Ganga is one of the rivers. But this is extraordinarily special. So the one above the many manifests as one among the many. That means this one among the many is special. So in every skill or in every area, there are some manifestations that are excellent. And we are attracted to them. Krishna has earlier said that actually all things come from me. Although all things come from Krishna, it's not that we are attracted to all things. So now we could say the whole temple is meant for glorification of Krishna. So every part of the temple is special. But when we come to the temple, we may notice the deities, we may notice the pictures, we may notice the chandeliers, we may notice certain specific things in the temple. So there are certain things which attract our attention. So when Krishna specially says, first he says everything comes from me, but then he says that everything that is attractive comes from me. So the point is, Krishna is not making just a philosophical statement. He's making a personal statement to assist us. Okay, we want to become attracted to him, then see the attractiveness of everything attractive as coming from Krishna. That's why he used all these special manifestations. Now, of course, it's an important thing. There can be different kinds of vibhutis. So, everything attractive comes from Krishna, but everything attractive doesn't take us to Krishna. Isn't it? So, now there are so many attractive things in the world, but some attractive things, we may look at them and we forget Krishna. So, now there's a Western author who has written, who made a quote and then a book was written on that topic. He says, the taste of wine is the proof that God loves us. So he says, wine is so delicious. How could something delicious come by chance? Then God must exist and God must love us. Now, Prabhupada says actually, that if somebody is addicted to drinking and they cannot give up drinking, then he says if a drunkard while drinking thinks that the taste of wine is Krishna, then by that they will become a devotee one day. Prabhupada is not saying by drinking wine they will become a devotee. He says whatever we are attracted to, if we remember the attractiveness of this is coming from Krishna, then we can become attracted to Krishna through that. So that list is actually expandable. Whatever list Krishna has given of his opulences, we could expand that list in various ways. So, if people are attracted to a particular sport, say people are attracted to cricket. So in today's world, you can say among sports, I am cricket. So the idea is, if you're so captivated by cricket, what is it that is captivating us? It is ultimately an opulence of Krishna that is being manifested over there. So this is it is not an exhaustive list; it's an indicative list. So whatever it is we are attracted to, if we think about it, what about this attracts me actually? So it is whatever is our deepest experience. It is our experience of Krishna. Whatever is our deepest experience, it is our experience of Krishna. So if somebody is a musician and they get lost in composing music, then they will spend hours and hours composing music. What is it what is the taste they are getting over there? There's a British author, William Wordsworth. He wrote a letter to his friend. He said, I spent my morning very productively today, working on one of my new poems. He says, after breakfast, I added a comma in the poem. Before lunch, I deleted the comma. Now, what productive? But he was absorbed there. Maybe singing it repeatedly, singing it this way, in that meter. How does it fit? So we say, one comma, how can you spend so many hours? But actually, whatever is anyone's deepest experience, that is their experience of Krishna. It is just that they don't know they are experiencing Krishna. So, if they can understand that, okay, whatever is attracting me, that is actually a manifestation of God coming through that. So, we can be attracted to that, but we need to connect that attraction to Krishna. So the whole Bhagavad Gita describes a very inclusive way, especially in this 10th chapter. Fixing the mind on Krishna is not just a matter of coming to the temple and chanting the holy names or taking darshan. Yes, that's very much required. But Arjuna's question was, Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. How can I fix my mind on you in this material world while interacting with material things? So if we can have this vision that whatever captivates us, we can become conscious of Krishna in even the things that make us unconscious of Krishna. When something captivates us so much that we no longer remember Krishna. But if you just understand, actually, this is Krishna captivating me. This is Krishna manifesting like this. So, of course, the point is that Krishna is, as I said, the one above the many. And the one among the many can be in Sattva Guna, in Rajo Guna, in Tamo Guna. So now, if we are attracted to tamasic manifestations, then that will degrade us. But if we are attracted to Rajo Guna, if we are attracted to Sattva Guna, that will be more elevated. So somebody likes music. Now somebody can have very sensual kind of music, and that will take their consciousness down. But if they like music, and then they connect with Krishna they hear Krishna music. Then what is happening? They are attracted to music, but they connect. So one way is to become directly attracted to Krishna by practicing bhakti. The other is to connect what we are attracted to Krishna. So when we do this way, we can see bhakti can permeate our entire life. It doesn't mean that we have to just reject our worldly attractions and connect with Krishna, but we connect our worldly attractions to Krishna. So this is the 10th chapter. Now, of course, before this Vibhuti Yoga comes up, there Krishna says, there's the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita, 10.8 to 11, which I actually and Krishna says, if you understand this, you'll fix your mind on me. So, when the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita, basically there are simply 4 themes over there. First is God's position. Second is the devotee's disposition. The third is God's grace. And the fourth is the liberation by the Lord's grace. So first Krishna says, actually everything comes from me. And if you understand this, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. If you understand that Krishna is the source of everything, what will happen? We will become devoted to Him. We will naturally become devoted to Him. If you understand God truly, we will naturally become attracted to Him. That's the first point. Understand God's position. Then those who are devoted, what do? Krishna says, Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. that those who are devoted to Krishna just delight in talking about Krishna. Ramanticha. Raman is often used with sensual pleasures. But that which is the greatest pleasure in the world, Krishna is saying that in discussing about him, there is a greater pleasure than that. Ramanticha. So, if you want to know who is devoted to Krishna, we can look at what does that person delight in. If that person delights in speaking about Krishna and discussing about Krishna, hearing about Krishna, that means, yes, this person is devoted to Krishna. And then, if we devote our life to Krishna, then what happens? And Krishna says that Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Krishna says that I will do magic in your heart. That whatever guidance you need, I will give that guidance. Now, in one sense, Krishna is everyone's guide. But Krishna is not a guide who forces himself on others. So if we become receptive to him, then Krishna gives us guidance. And then Krishna, the last verse says, Tesham evanu kampartha aham ajnana jamtamaha nashayamyatma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvataha. He says, even if somebody is not very intellectual, doesn't matter. I will give them the intelligence. Even if somebody has a very contaminated heart, a very dark heart. But Krishna says, I will illumine their heart. I will light the torch of knowledge in their hearts. So Krishna says, if you become devoted to me, I will personally enlighten you. It is not that you have to strive separately for enlightenment. Just try to devote yourself to me and I will enlighten you. So, if you see these 4 verses, Krishna's 2 verses fully are about what Krishna will do for us if we just devote ourselves to him. And this is the 10th chapter, and when it concludes, it's actually Krishna is overflowing with ecstasy about bhakti. Because he's talking about himself so that he can talk about bhakti, so that he can glorify bhakti. And here, the first verse when Krishna says that if you understand my position, then you will become devoted to me. So the point over there is that actually Krishna is saying that we may have this competitive vision. That okay, say if there's a tennis tournament, when somebody is say rank 100, somebody is rank 50, somebody is rank 25, somebody is rank 1. So we say this person is rank 1. So like that we may say there are many number of beings and God is number 1 being. So we may have this idea God is the best of all beings. That is true, but that is not the complete truth. God is not just the best of all beings, He is the basis of all being. It's not as a hierarchy in which you can climb up and you can come to God. Now whoever is wherever in that hierarchy, everybody is getting that power from Krishna. God is the basis of all being. Even whatever power we have, it is coming from Him. So that's why when we understand this, then there's no competition with Him. Whatever power I have to compete, it is also coming from Him. And that's why when Prahlad says to Narasimha, Prahlad says to Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu, where is your power coming from? Now Prahlad is not just being cheeky over there. When he says, the source of your power, the source of my power, is the same as the source of your power, is the same as the source of your power. So your power has come from Brahma, but Brahma's power is coming from Vishnu. So he is not just being cheeky over there, trying to provoke his father. He's not provoking, he's educating. He's just educating. Don't see Vishnu as a competitor. There's no competition at all. It's Krishna, if there's a scale of excellence. Krishna, you may have from 1 to 10. Now Krishna exists outside the scale of excellence. All scales. Now he exists outside of all scales, and wherever anyone falls on the scale of excellence, they all get their power from Krishna. So when we understand that this Krishna is the source of everything attractive, then we feel inspired to devote ourselves to Him. And then in the 11th, now it's interesting that after Krishna speaks the Chaturshloki, more or less the Bhagavad Gita is over. Because Arjuna accepts Krishna's supreme position. He says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. He says, you are the supreme truth. And I accept it fully. But afterwards, from the 10th chapter, almost all the questions that Arjuna is asking is for Lokahit. Is to help others understand. Now Arjuna has a personal relationship with Krishna. So for him to remember Krishna is easy. But when he's asking, how can we understand him see him or remember him in the worldly manifestations? That is for people who are in worldly consciousness. And similarly in the 11th chapter, first only he says that actually by your message, Mohoyam vigato mama, by what you have spoken, my moha is gone, my illusion is gone. It's interesting, Arjuna will say the same thing in the 18th chapter. Nashto moha, mohoyam vigato mama. So what he's going to say at the end of the 18th chapter, he has already said over here. But then, after that, every question that he's asking is to educate people, to help others understand Krishna's glory. And then he says, Arjuna, oh Krishna, is it possible for you to show what you have spoken in words? Can you demonstrate? You said that you are the source of everything. Everything is present within you. So, Manyasedi tad shakyam maya drishtumiti prabho yogeshwarato mema darshayatmanam avve. He says, can you please display your form? Magnificent form which contains everything. And then Krishna says, yes, why not? I will do this. And Krishna says, I will display something which nobody has seen before us. So Krishna says, I will not only fulfill your expectation, I will exceed your expectation. E plus, as they say, in management terminology. So then, in this 11th chapter, so the 9th, the 10th chapters are actually very emotionally dramatic. But the 11th chapter is very dramatic in terms of action. So what happens? There is a special narrative structure that is used here. So if we see something very special, something which we have never seen, we need to be oriented. What are you going to see first? If we are going to see some exhibition of some art or something very special, which nobody has seen or very few people have seen, then we need to be explained first what you are going to see. Now we don't just see with our eyes, we see with our intelligence. Because when we say I see, in the conversation I see, that means I understand. I get your point. So we don't see just with our eyes, we see with our intelligence. And sometimes what we see may not make sense unless it is explained with the intelligence. So because this Vishwarupa is so astonishing a sight, so there is a triple explanation there. First, before revealing, Krishna gives a explanation, what you are going to see. So from verses 5 to 10 roughly, Krishna tells Arjuna, he gives a sneak preview, what are you going to see? He explains first. And then when he reveals, at that time, Dhritarashtra tells Sanjay what Krishna has shown. And then, after that, from the 15th verse, there is Arjuna's self-description. This is what I am seeing. So, same thing is described in different perspectives. It's like, you have a camera. So, first, before you are showing, something is shown. Then you have a big picture. And Arjuna has a close-up picture. So, when Arjuna sees this, first he says, Pashyami Vishveshwara Vishwarupa. So, I understand, I am seeing this Vishwarupa. This majestic universal form I am seeing. And he's delighted on seeing this. He's thrilled. And as he keeps observing, he says, Nantam namadhyam na punastavadim. You are pervading all of space. There's no beginning, no middle, no end. It's magnificent. Durniriksham samantad. I can't see you very clearly. There's such effulgence coming from you. But then, as he's seeing, initially there is amazement and thrill. But slowly, pravetitam manome, his heart starts becoming a little fearful. What happens? That he doesn't just see this magnificent form, which you see, the universe broadly has two aspects to it. There is space and there is time. So earlier, whenever Krishna has shown the Vishwarupa, he has shown the form which is pervading across space. But here, he shows not just the form pervading across space, he also shows Adrushta Purvam Rishito Smidushtva Adrushta Purvam, something which he has never seen before, and that is the Kala Rupa. And this Kala Rupa, Kala is time. And time can create, time can maintain, time can destroy. This is a battlefield where time is going to destroy. So Arjuna starts saying, there is fierce form, it's in the mood of devouring everything. There's a blazing fire coming from the mouth and everything is getting destroyed. All living beings seem to be entering into it. What is going on? Now suppose we go to watch a romantic movie, some nice rom-com, and then we go there and suddenly it turns into a horror movie. What's going on? And then, so he's seeing this destructive form, and then you're watching that movie, and then you see in the movie that horrible destruction is happening. That destruction is not just of some building somewhere away, it is a theatre in which you are sitting that is getting destroyed. Hey, what's this? So first Arjuna sees this Vishwarupa devouring, and then he says, who are they devouring? It's all the warriors here itself. What's going on? And as he keeps seeing it, everybody's just charging into the mouth. It's going in and in and in into the mouth, and he's horrified. And then there are two beautiful metaphors over there. One is patanga, just as these moths enter into fire. So the Acharyas explain that is like people like Duryodhana. They, by their attraction to wrongdoing, they are entering into fire. So like that, some living beings are entered into the fire. Yathana dinam bhavam bhuvega. Another example is just as river enters into the ocean. And this is the example for people like Bhishma. Now river naturally enters into the ocean. Now one of the commentators in the Sri Sampradaya Vedanta Deshika gives a beautiful explanation of this. And he says that actually, you may say, whether you are a materialist or you are a spiritualist, everybody is going to die. So what is the use of being a spiritualist? So he says that's like the difference is between a moth, when it enters into a fire, its very existence is going to terminate. So similarly, materialists, when they die, of course the soul is not going to die, but everything that they value in their life is going to be destroyed. So their whole concept of existence is itself going to be shattered. But whereas when a river enters into the ocean, the water still stays the same. So a devotee is serving Krishna in this world, and a devotee serves Krishna in the next world. So although the death happens, but for a devotee there is no essential, there is no drastic or traumatic transition. The devotee continues doing what he is doing in this world and in the next world. Another thing he says is, when a moth moves towards fire, the moth doesn't do any good to anyone. Isn't it? The moth simply dies. But when the river moves towards the ocean, the river irrigates all the land along the way. Which is similarly, a devotee is also going to die. But a devotee along their life journey, the devotees, they benefit all living beings who interact with them. So in that sense, a life devoted to Krishna is also going to end. But a life devoted to Krishna is going to benefit others and ultimately benefit and liberate that person also. So as this whole thing is entering, everything is entering into Arjuna, into the mouth of Vishwarupa, and Arjuna becomes fearful. What's going on? And then he asks the question, Akhya himeko bhavanugra rupo. My dear Lord, who are you? Now this is quite again dramatic. You know, in English, any second person is referred to as he or you, sorry. But in Hindi or Sanskrit, there is more respectful, tu or aap. So if somebody calls us, kaun hai tu? It's the boss. Oh, namaste aap. Aap kaise ho aap? So we might change. So Arjuna, even when he surrenders to Krishna, he says that Pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. So tvam is like tu. But here when he sees this Kala Rupa, Akhya himeko bhavanugra rupo. Bhavan, aap. It becomes reverential. What is this? He doesn't understand. And he says, who are you? Now when he says, who are you, what does it mean? And now, sometimes when we see the picture of Vishwarupa, here is the different Vishwarupa picture. But Vishwarupa picture you see, normally we see Krishna is here, then Krishna is showing his fingers like this, and then we see the Vishwarupa. So normally when we are shown, it's like we see Krishna, Arjuna on the chariot and the Vishwarupa. But when Arjun no longer saw Krishna. Krishna actually disappeared from his vision, and all he saw was Vishwarupa. And then, now he has earlier identified that this is the Kala Rupa. Sorry, this is Vishwarupa. He says, Pashyami Vishweshwara Vishwarupa. Then why is he asking, who are you? It's like, because what has happened, here he is seeing a feature is never seen before. It's like, say we are walking along with a friend, maybe after a program, and suddenly a group of thugs attack. And then we are scared, and suddenly that friend starts makes a dozen karate kicks, and everybody is knocked down. Then we are, who are you? So, like that, Arjuna asking, who are you? I know you as my friend, I know you as the Vishwarupa, but when we see something unknown about someone known, then we ask, who are you? What have you done to my friend? Where has he gone? So similarly, Arjuna is asking, who are you? He says, what is this destructive manifestation? And that's why when Arjuna asks this question, and Krishna answers, Arjuna asks in 11.31, Krishna answers 11.32. So Krishna doesn't say, I am Krishna. And Krishna doesn't even say, I am Vishwarupa. What does he say? I am Kala Rupa. Kalosmi lokakshay krut pravruddho lokan samahartan iha pravritta ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve yavistita. That all those who are in this particular war field, I am time. Now time does all various things, but at that particular battlefield, time is going to destroy. And therefore it says, time I am, the destroyer of all the worlds. And then everybody except you, Rutepi Tvam na bhavishyanti sarve. That except for you, everyone is going to be destroyed. And the whole idea is Rutepi Tvam. Now Rute can mean except for you or even without you. So even without you means that Arjuna, even if you don't fight, still they are going to be destroyed. They have done misdeeds and they have to get the reactions for that. And if you take the secondary meaning, that without you also they will be destroyed. That means, Arjuna, if you think if you don't fight, this destruction will not happen, it's not like that. This destruction is going to happen. And then we can see the next verse. The next verse is what? Tasmat tamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhamshvarajyam samriddham mayai vaite nihata purvameva nimittamatram bhavasavya sachi. Therefore arise and fight, attain victory. By my arrangement your enemies are already killed. Just become an instrument in my fight. Just become an instrument in the fight. So here this is a verse which is of course every word of the Bhagavad Gita is packed with meaning, but this is very powerful verse. Therefore arise and fight. Now, there is this idea that many people say that, oh, the world is such a terrible place, that we say, the Bhagavad Gita says God descends to this world to restore order in the world. So why is God not descending now? So why is God not descending and fixing things? So the Bhagavad Gita tells us that God doesn't descend to fix things in the world. God descends to fix us so that we can fix things in the world. So Krishna is not telling Arjuna, I will kill all of them. Krishna is saying, you kill all of them. So Arjuna is bewildered. Arjuna doesn't know what to do. He's confused. So Krishna speaks the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna fixes Arjuna. After Krishna fixes Arjuna, then Arjuna will fix the things. So the whole idea is, devotion is not about giving up responsibility. Oh, God will do everything. No. Yes, it is I who should do things in the service of God. It's we who have to take responsibility for the service of God. And therefore, Krishna is saying, therefore you arise and fight. But there are so many obstacles. Actually speaking, no matter how bad things are, we can make them worse. You can think anything in your life, no matter how bad is it, can you make it worse? Obviously you can, isn't it? Say I might fracture my hand and it's terrible. But my fractured cast, I can smash it on the ground again. I can make it worse. So the point why I'm making this is that if we can make things worse, that means we always have free will. And that means we can make things better also. It's a very important point. Sometimes we feel, I am helpless. My situation is so terrible. I can't do anything. Well, can you make things worse? Yeah, I can do that. Then you can make things better also. So, Krishna is telling Arjun, take responsibility. And when we may feel, no, but there are so many problems, how can I deal with them? Krishna, then he says, Mayaivaite nihata purvameva. By my arrangement, the obstacles will be removed. So the obstacles, the enemies are killed by my arrangement, Krishna says. But you have to fight. So sometimes you may feel that the problems in my life are such that I just can't do anything. It's like mission impossible. Now in a movie Mission Impossible, something sounds very attractive, okay. Because we know they're going to make it possible. But in our life, when we see something is mission impossible, I feel like I just can't do it. But what Krishna is telling, that this is going to happen. It's not mission impossible, it's mission unstoppable. He says they're all destroyed. So that's why when Prabhupada went to America, it's all alone with just 70 rupees, with just 40 rupees at the age of 70. It was mission impossible. But Prabhupada was not thinking I am the doer. Prabhupada was saying Krishna is the doer. And therefore, even when Prabhupada had no facility, no support, but Prabhupada says, yes, there are temples. It's just time is separating us from them. So Prabhupada saw it not as mission impossible, he saw it as mission unstoppable. This is going to happen. The same applies to our inner struggles also. We may have many, many conditionings. And how can I overcome them? I can't. No, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We can only decide how fast or how slowly it will happen. Now, it can happen in one lifetime or it can take 100,000 lifetimes. But we will become purified. Prabhupada would say that Krishna consciousness is like a fatal disease. If you become Krishna conscious, your material existence is going to end. You will get liberated. But this is, if a disease, the more we get infected, the happier we become. It's not a disease that hurts us, it actually makes us happy. So we should never lose heart. And Arjuna says, Krishna tells Arjuna, Nimittamatram bhavasau visachi. Just become an instrument in the fight. So we just do what we can. And Krishna will do what we can't. If we just do what we can, Krishna will do what we can't. But unfortunately what we do, we keep looking at all that we can't do. And then we stop doing what we can also. So instead of doing like that, just do what we can. And Krishna will do what we can't. This is a very reassuring, very inspiring action invoking words in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, after that, when Krishna completes this, he gives a call of action, then Arjuna starts offering prayers again. And when he offers prayers, so you are the Vishwarupa, I want to offer obeisances to you. But suppose we come to a temple. And then temple, if you see all four directions, there are deities. How do I offer obeisances then, isn't it? So he says, Krishna, you are the Vishwarupa. All Vishwa is your Rupa. So where do I offer obeisances? So therefore he says, I offer obeisances from the front, I offer obeisances from the back, I offer obeisances from the right, I offer obeisances from the left. Okay, I offer obeisances hundreds of times. So he says, Nama purastadta prishtataste, namostute. I offer you again and again obeisances. And then he starts thinking, actually, I took Krishna for granted. Sakheti matva yad prasabam. So I thought of you as friend and I taunted you. Oh, you are very clever. And I thought that actually, you are only a member of the royal family. Your grandfather, the king, and you are just ordinary prince. I am a member of the same generation. My brother is the king. I am a part of the royal family. I thought I was superior to you. But I was so foolish. And he says, whatever stupidity I have committed, please forgive me. Chamaswatvam. Please forgive me. And then Arjuna says, okay, Krishna, this darshan is enough now. Now, he's speaking all this, but he says, please show me your Saumya Rupa. Please show me your gentle form now. Now, Krishna accepts Arjuna's praise and Krishna just teases Arjuna. Arjuna, actually this darshan is extremely rare. Even by the study of the Vedas, by the performance of great austerity, you cannot get this. Even the Devatas desire to see this. But Arjuna says, I have seen enough now. So, Arjuna says, no, I don't want to see it. Then Krishna says, okay. Mate yatha macha vimudha bhavo. Please do not be agitated, become peaceful. Now I will show you my Saumya Rupa. And the Acharya explained that Krishna showed first his Vishwarupa, then he shows his Chaturbhuja Rupa. And then he shows his Dvibhuja Rupa. And he comes back. And then Arjuna says, now I have become peaceful. His bhayena cha pravetitam manome, his mind had become fearful. But then it became peaceful. And then it's very striking. This same Bhagavad Gita 11.33 is, they're enemies and they're going to be killed by my arrangement. But the Bhagavad Gita 11.55, this 11th chapter concludes with a declaration that mat karma krun mat paramo mat bhakta sanga varjitaha nirvairah sarva bhuteshu yah samameti pandava. Krishna says that, okay, you work for me and work without any animosity towards anyone. Nirvairah sarva bhuteshu. What's going on here? Just now Krishna has said that all those Kauravas are going into the Virat Vishwarupa and they're going to devour. And Krishna said, I have removed the enemies from your path. Fight. And he also mentions them, that Bhishma, Drona, they're all going to die. In fact, he also says over there that Jayadratha is also entering into the mouth. Now Jayadratha is not a very prominent warrior and Jayadratha is not mentioned by Duryodhana also in the first chapter. But Krishna knows that Jayadratha is going to create a special problem. And Krishna is assuring, Jayadratha will be eliminated. So, he mentions all these enemies and he says, Nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu. Don't fight with animosity. Don't have animosity towards anyone. So what is going on? Just now he said enemies and now he says no animosity. So the point is, a devotee may sometimes have to fight against someone. But a devotee is never against anyone. They're two different things. We may have to fight against someone because they are fighting against Krishna. They are fighting against Dharma. So we may have to fight against them. But we are never against anyone. A devotee is the well-wisher of everyone. Just as Krishna is the well-wisher, devotee is also the well-wisher. When Prabhupada wanted to build a temple in Juhu, there was the person who sold the land was like a very scheming, manipulative person. And he took the money and he did not give the land papers also. And he started to get gundas and hooligans and attack the devotees, threaten the devotees. And then eventually when he died, his wife took it up. And she tried to get some hooligans to just destroy the temple structure itself. But everything turned against, and when the temple was destroyed, devotees became, people in India came out in support. And then she realized that, this is not going to work. So then she came to Prabhupada for a reconciliation. And when she came and offered her respects to Prabhupada, Prabhupada just said, don't worry, you're just like my daughter. And Prabhupada was very affectionate to her. Before that, if you see the kind of letters Prabhupada writing to disciples, no, nobody will steal this temple from Krishna even over my dead body. I will make sure that will not happen. So a devotee may fight against someone, but a devotee is never against anyone. Sometimes for our service, we may have to do something which is confrontational. So Krishna is telling, so at one level, the immediate Bhagavad Gita's battlefield context is it's going to be a fierce war. But the bigger picture is, Krishna is not telling Arjuna to fight a war. Krishna is telling Arjuna to practice bhakti. In his emergency situation, he has to practice bhakti by fighting a war. Similarly for us, when we have to do anything in this world, we have to struggle. To struggle for practicing bhakti, we have to fight against our inner enemies. Outside there are so many obstacles, so we have to fight. So when we have to fight, that means, I gave a class in America that the way to Vrindavan is through Kurukshetra. We have to fight in this world. And sometimes it may appear as if we have to fight with devotees also. Because we want to do some service and nobody seems to be cooperating. One disciple wrote a letter to Prabhupada saying that, actually all my God brothers, all my God sisters, they are discouraging me so much. And I am feeling so discouraged. And Prabhupada said, there is nothing new. I also got nothing except depression, compression and repression from my God brothers. But Prabhupada said, we do not function on this platform of getting discouraged. Because we function for the service of Krishna. So it's not that devotees are bad. It's just that we are living in a material world and all of us have some quota of adhibhautik klesh to suffer. We have some quota of suffering which has to come from other living beings. Now, if most of the other living beings around us are devotees, then that quota has to come through devotees. So sometimes for our service, we may seem to have to fight against devotees also. But even if we have to fight for that, like Prabhupada sometimes spoke very strong words against his God brothers. One particular God brother who had tried to steal away some of Prabhupada's disciples and say that actually I will give you more knowledge. Prabhupada said that he is like an envious snake. Don't go near him. And then when he passed away, now devotees like to hear, where did he go? Which hell did he go to? They would like to ask him, when somebody dies, where did he go? And Prabhupada said, he went back to the spiritual world. He served my spiritual master is very powerful. So, when it was for the protection of his disciples, Prabhupada was fighting against even his God brothers. But Prabhupada was not against his God brothers. He respected them, he respected their service to Krishna. And he saw their service to spiritual master and to Krishna. So the point is, we may have to fight against someone, but we don't have to be against anyone. And that is the mood of the Bhagavad Gita also. When he says, Nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu. So then after that, it comes to the 12th chapter. So, I don't think we are going to complete 18 chapters. Actually, we are going to have a session on Tuesday, which is going to be a question answer session. So maybe we could continue this on Tuesday, or I can maybe in 5 minutes try to rush through all chapters. What should I do? Tuesday? Okay. Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday. Sorry? No, I thought that tomorrow is this Kirtan is there, so it might be difficult to come on Monday. Monday is a public holiday. Okay, fine. So we'll come. So, okay. So, okay. Okay, so Monday we will continue this. So I'll just, how many of you have questions right now? Okay. So you don't have time to think about questions. Okay, so I'll speak 12th chapter, and then if there are any questions, we can take a few questions. So now after this whole action gets over, this whole dramatic thing has happened. And after that, it's like the whole conversation goes on as if nothing has happened. It's this very dramatic thing has happened, and after that, it's a very serious philosophical discussion. So, sometimes if you try to look for the thread of connection between Arjuna's questions, it might seem very difficult. It's like, say, suppose, suddenly, if you're sitting all hearing his class, and suddenly we hear there's a bomb scare. And then suddenly some very fierce looking terrorists come over here. And everybody gets alarmed. And then those terrorists go away and everybody sits down and continues the class. What happened? Nobody is disturbed. But what has happened is that Arjun, for him, it's just his conviction is reinforced. And then the next question that he asks is, Krishna, there are different manifestations. Some people worship you in the personal manifestation, some in the impersonal. So, which is better? Now, what is the correlation between 11th and 12th chapters? There are multiple correlations. One is actually based on 9.15. 9.11, 12, Krishna talks about his pure devotee, or talks people who are like demoniac. 13, 14, he talks about his pure devotees. At 15, he gives people between at the two levels. Those who worship the devatas, those who worship the Vishwarupa, and those who worship the impersonal manifestation. Ekatvena pruthatvena bahuda vishvato mukham. So pruthatvena bahuda, he has talked about from 9.20 to 9.34. Yesterday I talked about how Krishna compares the worship of the devatas with the worship of Krishna. And then the Vishvato Mukham, the Vishwaroop, and it's how that comes from Krishna is talked about in the 11th chapter. And then Ekatvena, those who think everything is one. What about them? Krishna asks. Krishna is asked by Arjun. So it's 9.15, it is three people who are in between. Not demonic, not divine. What is their status? And Krishna answers very clearly that those who fix their mind on me, manya veshamano yema, nityayukta upasate, shraddhaya parayo petas, te me yuktatamo mata. They are the most intimately united with me. Those who are devoted to my personal form. But then after that he says that those who worship the impersonal, they will also come to me. Te prapnuvanti mameva. They'll also come to me. But it's a very difficult path. Klesho diktaras tesham. It's filled with klesha. It's quite difficult. So the point here is, this is Krishna when he's talking about it, is people who are attracted to the impersonal aspect. They are not offensive, they are Brahmavadis. When Krishna talks 9.11 to Avajananti Mam Mudha, he's talking about Mayavadis. Now what is a Mayavadi? A Brahmavadi is someone who is attracted to the impersonal manifestation. A Mayavadi is somebody who thinks that the personal manifestation is an illusion. And you have to go beyond the personal manifestation to the impersonal manifestation. So they think that actually Krishna's all attractive form is Maya. So that is offensive. And that's why Mayavadis are spoken about in strongly negative terms. But at the same time, most people who say that, oh, everything is one, I want to enter into that oneness, and now most of them are actually not Mayavadis. So in general, on the spiritual path, the default philosophical position of people will be impersonalism. That's the default philosophical position. Why? Because we are attracted to all the forms of this world, and the attraction to the forms of this world captivates us and deludes us. So if you don't want to be attracted, then you have to go beyond the forms. So by default, people will go from the form to the formless. And then they can come from the formless to the spiritual form. So when somebody says everything is one, if you say, oh, you're a Mayavadi. Actually, to call people who say everything is one as a Mayavadi is to give them too much credit. Mayavadi is a philosophy. It's in its own way. It's a complex philosophy, and people have a lot of complicated ideas about Mayavadi. Most people who say everything is one, they just have heard it somewhere, and they maybe read something about it, and everything is one. Yeah, everything is one. So Krishna is not very critical about it. He says, yes, that's also a path, but it's gradual. It's very difficult to grow by that path. And then again he contrasts. Yesterday also I said the Bhagavad Gita is a book of not of commandments, but of choices and consequences. So he says, make this choice, it's a very slow, difficult process. But the other path, he says that if you become devoted to me, Teshamaham samuddharta mrityu sansara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. He says that you just devote yourself to me and you will come to me. You will come to me, Krishna says. How will you come to me? I will lift you out. Aham samuddharta. I will become like your deliverer, and quickly, very quickly I will deliver you. So Krishna is giving us assurance of his personal intervention if we choose the path of devotion. And then somebody may say, Actually, fixing the mind on Krishna is quite difficult. My mind wanders all over the world. So Krishna, then he says, it's like a ladder. If you come up here, I'll lift you out. It's like, say, somebody is saying that, okay, I'm up there and you are in the ocean. You just raise your hand up and I'll pick you up. This person says, actually, I can't raise my hand. Okay, Krishna says, you can't raise my hand, you just keep swimming. I will pick you up. So Krishna says, you can't fix your mind on me. Actually, just try to fix your mind on me. So just do sadhana bhakti. By that you will come. By that you will be attracted to me. Actually, I can't even. So you can't be absorbed in Krishna while chanting. Okay, just try to chant and try to absorb yourself. Then if we can't do spontaneous devotion, we can do conscientious devotion. It is said that when the Lord Darshan happens, at that time, Hare Krishna. Battery? Okay. So, am I audible? Okay. So, when the Lord Darshan opens, the pure devotees are so ecstatic on beholding the Lord that they faint and fall down. Now, for us it is said, you don't faint but at least fall down. So, if we can't do spontaneous devotion, at least do conscientious devotion. So the Krishna says, okay, if you can't do this, do this. Somebody says, I can't do this also. And then Krishna says, okay, if you can't do this, at least work for me. Some people say, okay, I'll come to the temple, but don't tell me to do japa. Okay. Okay, then at least come to the temple and do some seva. There's one devotee in LA, he was doing a program in UCLA for the students over there, and every day every week he would do the program, many students would come. And you invite them, come to the temple, we have a nice talk over there, and we have kirtan, arti. Nobody would come. And then he told them one day, that actually we have a Sunday program in which we serve free food to 300 people. Would you like to come and serve free food to 300 people? He says, yeah, I would like to come. And almost 95% people came. So, they are not ready to hear about Krishna. But do some seva, they can do the seva. So, we can connect people at whatever level they are ready to connect. And if somebody says, oh, I cannot do seva also. Okay, then Krishna says, at least become selfless. So don't just keep all your things for yourself. Give it to somebody else. Just expand yourself in selflessness. So what is Krishna doing? It's like Krishna is offering a descending ladder of love. If you can't do this, it's not that I'm rejecting you. You can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this. So in that sense, Krishna is a very accommodating God. In the biblical tradition, there is the idea that God is a jealous God. That if you don't worship, you should not worship any other gods apart from me. Don't bow down to any other gods. Krishna, he says, if you don't worship me, that the idea in the Bible is that if you don't worship the one true God, then you will go to hell. And there are some extremist people, the religions, they say, you're not only going to go to hell, we will send you there faster. So, Krishna is not like that. What Krishna says is, okay, if you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this. So, Krishna is not a jealous God, he is a zealous God. He is zealously working to provide us facilities to rise up, to connect with him, to come to him. And then, so this describes different levels from 12.8 to 12. And then in from 12.13 to 20, he talks about different qualities. That these are different. Now, at one level, if somebody is devoted, they attract Krishna. But Krishna says that we don't see devotion as separate from other virtues. A devotee should also have other virtues. And Krishna talks about how a devotee is kind to everyone. Adveshta sarvabhutanam, maitraha karunaivacha, is not possessive, is humble, is gentle, is sense-controlled. So in this way, what Krishna is telling, that if somebody is devoted, they are dear to me. But if somebody is devoted and has virtues, then they are dear to me. So as devotees, we also need to develop virtues. Because what happens, we often may think that, okay, what is my bhakti? My bhakti is that I do my sadhana, I have my philosophy. We have three things. We have siddhanta, we have sadhana, and we have seva. Now these three are very important. That how much philosophy we know properly, how much sadhana we are doing, how we are chanting our rounds, how we are worshipping the deities, and okay, what all seva we do. From the bhakti perspective, these are what is important. But from the world's perspective, who cares how many verses from the Bhagavad Gita you know? Who cares how much philosophy you know? Who cares how much sadhana, what time you wake up? Who cares how many rounds you chant? The only thing that the world is going to see is sadachar, is behavior. So all these qualities which Krishna is talking is about sadachar. The world will see our sadachar, and that's why Srila Prabhupada was asked that how do we know your disciples? Prabhupada said they are perfect gentlemen. A perfect gentleman, perfect ladies and perfect gentlemen. Because people will not appreciate, we chant 16 rounds every day. Okay, fine, so what? They're not going to care about that. So like earlier I said, Krishna is we have to present Krishna's greatness in people's terms of greatness. So similarly, like in India you may have known that this is this giant Bhagavad Gita, the world's biggest religious text, was inaugurated by the Prime Minister Modi. And the Bhagavad Gita has always been there in the temple. But the newspaper reporter didn't come to see the Bhagavad Gita. But when this giant Bhagavad Gita was there, they came and all the TV channels, they started displaying that. So what is attractive to people is not Bhagavad Gita, it is the size of the Bhagavad Gita. Now actually what is really attractive is the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? But we have to present the attractiveness in people's terms of attractiveness. So similarly, now a devotee is devoted to Krishna, that's wonderful, but people won't appreciate that. So we have to present it in a way that people can understand. So Prabhupada would go for morning walks in the West. Morning walks, he would not greet people as Hare Krishna. He would greet people good morning. Because as gentlemen, in Hare Krishna, what will they understand? Now of course Hare Krishna is well known in the world also. But the point is that Krishna is talking about sadachar over here because he talks about qualities which even ordinary people can appreciate. Devotion, ordinary people may not appreciate. But virtues, people can appreciate. And if somebody is a virtuous devotee, then people will be attracted to that virtuous devotee. They may not be attracted to the devotion, they will be attracted to the virtues. And from those virtues, you are so virtuous and you are a devotee also? I should also practice bhakti. So Krishna says, therefore, those who are devoted to me, they are very dear to me. Those who are devoted with virtues, they are bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Such devotees are very dear to me. Now we may say, but I don't have virtues, what to do? He said, don't worry. If you just have devotion, that itself makes you dear to me. Ye tu dharma amritamidam yathoktam paripasate shraddhadhana mat parama bhaktaste tiva me priyaha. That if somebody is devoted to me, then that itself makes them extremely dear to me. Because from that devotion, purification will happen. By purification, other virtues will come. So in this way here, Krishna completes his bhakti section by emphatically glorifying devotion. First he glorifies his own, broadly 5 ways in which he glorifies devotion. First is by comparing with Ashtanga Yoga in the 8th chapter, where he says that, actually first is by talking about the power of illusion and how bhakti can free us from illusion. Mameva ye prapadyanti mayamitam tarite. Second is 8th chapter, he says, okay, Ashtanga Yoga is good, that can also liberate you, but tasyaham sulabha partha. It is much, much easier by the practice of bhakti. In the 9th chapter, he contrasts bhakti with the other process of worship of devatas. He says, bhakti is so wonderful, the best process. 10th chapter, he actually says that bhakti is something which you can do even in this world, by connecting the things of this world. So you don't have to renounce the world. Just connect the world with Krishna. And then what is the greatest in this world? All that comes from Krishna, is contained by Krishna. That's all shown in the Vishwarupa chapter. And then 12th chapter is the comparison of the impersonal and the impersonal. Impersonal and the personal. Krishna says that the devotee is far superior. So in this way, in a completely unambiguous, emphatic way, Krishna proclaims the glory of devotion and inspires us all to take shelter of Bhakti Devi, of Srimati Radharani. And that's how the Bhakti section completes by declaring anyone who is a devotee is extremely dear to me. So I'll summarize what I spoke today. So I covered 3 chapters today broadly. So 10th, 11th, 12th. And in the 10th chapter I talk elaborately about Vibhuti Yoga. That Krishna says he speaks his glories so that he can glorify devotion and thereby inspire us to practice devotion. Krishna is not on an ego trip. Krishna is actually speaking his glories, is to persuade us to fix a mind on him, like a doctor telling, all other doctors are trained by me only. And so Krishna tells Arjuna that everything attractive comes from him. So we don't have to reject what we are attracted to, we connect what we are attracted to him. And the Vibhuti is not like absolute oneness. Krishna and Arjuna are not one. Krishna chooses Arjuna say I am among Pandavas, I am Arjuna, but that doesn't mean they're one. What it means is the one above the many manifests as the one among the many. We can't see the one above the many, but we see the one among the many, most attractive. And from there we can direct our thoughts towards Krishna. And God is not just the best of all beings, He is the basis of all being. So God's glory should not trigger any competitive mentality within us. Rather, submissive. Everything good within me also comes from Him. And the whole Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita is for the purpose of stressing in 2 verses Krishna's merciful intervention in the life of his devotee. If you devote yourself to me, even if you have deficiency in knowledge, anything, doesn't matter. I will give you the intelligence by which you can come to me. And then he says that then from Arjuna's illusion is removed over there. They accept that Krishna as supreme. But all the subsequent questions are for the purpose of actually Lokahita, for illuminating people. So first question is, how can we see you in this world? And the question is, can you demonstrate your Vishwarupa? And when we talk Vishwarupa about how Krishna also shows the Kala Rupa. And Arjuna gets scared. It's like you're watching a romantic movie and turns out to be a horror movie. And the horror is happening in your own house. What's going on? Right? So Twam becomes Bhavan. And Krishna tells Arjuna that I am dying except for you or even in spite of you. Everybody is going to be destroyed. So then Krishna doesn't descend to the world to fix the world. Krishna descends to the world to fix us so that we can fix the world. So for us, what may seem as mission impossible can actually become mission unstoppable by Krishna's grace. Gone by Bhagwan ki jai. And then after that in the 11th chapter, he tells Arjuna that you just become an instrument. So for us also, even if no matter how terrible things are, we can make them worse, so we can make them better also. We have free will. And if we do what we can, Krishna will do what we can't. And then the whole 11th chapter concludes by Nirvairaha Sarvabhuteshu. A devotee may fight against someone, but a devotee is not against anyone. We fight because we want to serve Krishna and protect Krishna's service, but we don't have any animosity towards anyone. The way to Vrindavan is through Kurukshetra. Inside, outside, we have to fight for serving Krishna in this world. And then we came to the 12th chapter. So the questions are based on 9.15. The 10th, 11th, 12th chapter questions are there. So the 12th chapter question is actually how do we know which is better, superior in personal or personal? And there I talked about how personal is best, Krishna says, but impersonal, people also come to me. So today most people who have impersonal conceptions, they're not Mayavadi, they're just Brahmavadi. It's a default philosophical conception of people on the spiritual path. So Krishna says, I will deliver those who become devoted to me. And then he offers a descending ladder of virtue. That if you can't fix your mind spontaneously, fix it conscientiously. If you can't do that, just serve me. Work for me, serve me. If you can't do that, just work for some good cause and become selfless. So Krishna is not a jealous God, he's a zealous God. And then lastly, Krishna says that it's not just devotion, but devotion with virtue that endears us to him. In the world's eyes, if the path of bhakti is to be attractive, people will not directly see bhakti alone. They will see the virtues of the bhaktas. And so Prabhupada said, followers are like perfect gentlemen and ladies. And if somebody says, oh, virtues are not possible, still practice bhakti. Just practicing bhakti will also endear us to Krishna. So in different ways, Krishna emphatically glorifies devotion and inspires us all to wholeheartedly embrace the path of devotion. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So any questions quickly? Yes. Yeah.
Are there any Brahmavadis that are there? Contemporary world? What if they are?
Okay.
Where do they live and what is the start?
Are there any Brahmavadis in the world today? Where do they live? What is their sadhana?
How do they walk?
How do they walk? See, generally, it is very difficult to know people's conception externally. Even if somebody is externally belonging to an organization, that is, we could say, Mayavadi. But is it necessary that all the people in that organization will also be having Mayavad? As I said, Brahmavad means people are just attracted to the impersonal manifestation. They have that idea of oneness and they want to go into the oneness. And they have not been explained the personal aspect in philosophical terms. So they have no attraction to it. Either they have not met devotees or they have not met learned devotees who can explain philosophical terms. So that's why that bhakti towards the personal aspect has not come. So in my understanding, most people whom we deal with, it is safe to, most people who are spiritualists and who talk about oneness, it is safe to start with the idea that they are Brahmavadis. No need to presume that they are Mayavadis. So there are of course some people who are offensive to the Lord also. But most of their followers, they are not philosophical. So we could say that there are Mayavadis and people under Mayavad influence. And people under Mayavad influence are usually not Mayavadis, they're just Brahmavadis. They have the idea of oneness, that's all. So see, for most people when they come to a spiritual path, philosophy is not what brings them to the spiritual path. It is a culture, it is a sense of community, it is a sense of continuity with tradition, it is a sense of belonging, it is a sense of peace of mind. There are so many things, other things actually which bring people to a spiritual organization, a spiritual movement, to make a choose a spiritual path. So, even if people are following a particular spiritual path, which says Mayavadi, their philosophy is not the major reason why they are following it. So, for them to come to Krishna also, even if they have some philosophical conceptions, I am talking from a practical experiential perspective, philosophy is very rarely an obstacle for people to come to Krishna. There are some, but it's very rare. So even if their philosophy is wrong philosophy is not as much as an obstacle as our telling them that their philosophy is wrong. So what happens is, you tell them this is wrong. Oh, but you know, such a famous teacher says this, and you say that is wrong. How can you say they are wrong? So best is, for most people, we can present philosophy in a non-confrontational way. Just present the personal philosophy, and people, see, most Indians, if you can say, you're talking mostly about Indians, most Indians are more interested in worship than the object of worship. That means many people will come to the temple and pray with such folded hands, closed eyes, moving their head, with such sincerity. Even I don't pray like this to Krishna. And while going back, they ask, who is there on the altar? So the point is that it's like somebody who is out in the cold and they have got a torn, tattered piece of cloth. And now we want to give them a very thick, soft comforter, which will protect them from the cold much better. But if we tell them, just put aside that cloth, and we try to pull that cloth away from them, they will hold on to that cloth as if it's their life. Because that is the only thing protecting them from cold right now. So instead of trying to pull away that cloth, just put the comforter on them. And once they start experiencing the comfort, hey, this is so good. And they will themselves think, actually, that torn, tattered sheet, I don't need it. Just put it aside. So what is this compared to is that today's world is in rajas and tamas. And the modes of passion and ignorance cause a lot of agitation to people's minds. And even if people experience some sattva, they might just come to a place and they just close their eyes and do some deep breathing. They just recite some Om or whatever. They do something and they experience some peace. And that's what they consider spiritual. So, although that, there may be hardly any philosophy doesn't make sense, whatever. But they have come there because they got the experience. So it's like from the cold of rajas and tamas, whatever little spirituality they have done, that is like the tattered, thin sheet that is giving them protection. And so, it may be wrong. It's like that, it's torn, it's tattered. But it's giving them some experience of sattva over there. When we try to pull it away, so as I said, their wrong philosophy doesn't obstruct them as much as our calling their philosophy wrong. Just give up this sheet. No. So just give our philosophy to them. Give them an opportunity to experience Krishna. Not just our philosophy, but the whole Krishna culture, the Krishna relationships, the Krishna worship. And many people actually make a seamless translation. So most people don't go to any spiritual path because of the philosophy. Philosophy is one aspect, no doubt. But it is not a very prominent aspect. So even if somebody's philosophy, even if we say people are Brahmavadis or Mayavadis, whatever, just don't worry about what they are. Focus on connecting them with Krishna. When Prabhupada went to America, actually there was a big interest in Indian spirituality. And that interest in Indian spirituality at that time was because of many other spiritual teachers who had gone in the past. Now most of them were impersonalists. But people just they were interested in Indian spirituality. They had some impersonal conceptions, but they were open to Indian spirituality. So similarly, even if somebody is Mayavadi or whatever, often that makes them, at least at a practical level, favorable to Krishna. At an ideological or philosophical level, if they are at that level, they may be unfavorable. But most people are not at that level. So we can assume that most people are like at the Brahmavad level. And treat them accordingly, and many of them will come towards Bhakti. Okay?
One question for you.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one question I was thinking quite long about the Vishwarup Darshan. That Krishna,
Vishwarup Darshan, yeah.
like we know that form of Krishna is the most attractive because it's full of the Madhurya. So even among the Vishnu Tattva, the form of Krishna is considered to be most special. So when Arjuna was seeing that form, how did he develop the desire to see the Vishwarup Darshan?
Okay, as I mentioned, that was for people in general. Arjuna didn't have the desire to see the Vishwarupa when he had Krishna's Vibhuja Rupa, but it was because he wanted people to know what is verbally proclaimed is also visually demonstrated. And that's why afterwards Arjuna is not captivated by the Vishwarupa. He comes back, I want to see your two-handed form. So it's just contextual for reinforcing a particular point. Okay?
That's only one aspect.
There's no other reasons given as far as I know. Thank you. So one last question anyone has? Yes, please. Okay, we'll complete this one. Yeah.
Could you get an excellent point by saying that Semitic religious texts, those are based on commandments, and our philosophy is based on choices and consequences. In relation to this, how should we see the verses 18.65 and 18.66, which appear more like commandments than
Okay. So around 18.65 and 66 like commandments, sarva dharman pratyajamamekam sharanam vraja. See, when I say that the Bhagavad Gita is not a book of commandments, that doesn't, it's more of choices and consequences. That doesn't mean there are no directive or instructive statements. The mood of the Bhagavad Gita is not that Krishna is a God up there demanding obedience down here. So that naturally there are some statements which are instructive. But even if we say the sarva dharma mamekam sharanam vraja, it's not like it's not so much instructive as inspiring. There is a call for action, but there's a reciprocation, there's assurance, there's a guarantee. If you do this, I'll do this for you. So commandments, in the sense that Krishna giving some commanding like statements. We may find some statements like that. The technical word Baldev Vijayabhushan uses is they are sentences in the imperative. Imperative means do this. Now, please get water for me, or carry that bag. So that's imperative statements. So surrender to me. That's an imperative statement. But the overall mood of the Bhagavad Gita is of discussion and deliberation. It is not of domination. This is my way. You have to follow it. It's not like that. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
With regard to karma yoga, suppose someone does his work properly and is a devout worker, does good for the society, but he's not brought up in the godly manner, like they don't believe in God and they don't antagonize God. It's kind of a neutral state. So there could be apathy towards God. They will not acknowledge anything that they do in the name of God. Could we consider him as a karma yogi?
Okay, good question. If somebody is doing good work in the world, but they are not against God nor for God, they are apathetic towards God, then would they be called karma yogis? In a very broad sense of the word, we could say that they are working for some good cause. So there is some kind of yoga, there is some kind of connection with something higher. In a more specific or technical Bhagavad Gita sense, yoga is actually a connection with the higher reality. Yoga is connection with the spiritual reality. So karma that connects us with spirituality, with transcendence, with ultimately God, that is karma yoga. Now, in karma yoga, the person may not know what is that higher reality, but that person understands there is some higher reality, and I am working for that higher purpose. So, instead of trying to technically classify whether it is karma yoga or not, we can say that if somebody is working for a good cause, they are broadly in sattva, in the mode of goodness. And many times if somebody is apathetic towards God, that's often because they may have had some positive experiences with religion or with religious people.
Second World War.
Sorry?
The Japanese of the Second World
Yeah,
War.
that's true. That's a good example. So basically what we would say is that it depends on the person's consciousness. If somebody is broadly in sattva guna, working sattva guna, then urdhvam gachanti sattvastha. That will elevate them. If they are rajas or tamas, accordingly, that will affect them also. So it's a whole subject actually. I talk about this in terms of there are functional values and there are foundational values or fundamental values. So functional values refer to how we function in this world. And sometimes even an atheist, what to speak of an agnostic or the word is up. There's a whole ism called apatheism. Apatheism is I don't care about God, whether He exists or not. So whether it's an atheist, even somebody is an atheist, sometimes the atheist may also in functional terms be in sattva guna. Because they might be living like regulated lives, they might be kind, they might be sensitive, polite, like that. It's possible. So functional values are largely determined by our past karma and our present upbringing, along with our present choices. Fundamental values are our understanding of life's fundamental realities. Who am I? What is life's purpose? So now these two values are two separate things. So I give the example that I give a whole series of Bhagavatam classes in Chicago on bhakti in the three modes. So normally we say bhakti is transcendental, but the Bhagavatam says bhakti can be in the three modes also. So it's like somebody is driving a car, and some people are terrible drivers. When they drive, it's like everybody runs away from them. Some people, they start driving and everybody else stops driving. Okay, you go there, I'll go after it. So, it's like, say, the kind of car we have and the way we drive the car, that is like our functional values. So some people drive very smoothly, some people drive a little passionately, some people drive terribly. So like that we can say, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas refers to how well we drive the car. That's functional values. Now fundamental values is where we are driving the car. So somebody may be driving the car expertly, but they are going away from their destination. Then the expert driving is not of that much use. So how people live in this world is determined by the modes. But why people live in this world, or what purpose they are living, that depends on their overall worldview. So it's possible that people may have very good functional values, but may not have good fundamental values. So we don't deny that functionally the people can be good. And if they are good, that goodness is to be appreciated. Then depending on what is their conception, fundamental conception, that will determine where their destination will be. So functional values count and fundamental values also count. So sometimes if devotees may have the fundamental value that I am going towards Krishna, but if the functional values are not very good, a devotee is quarrelsome, devotee is rude, a devotee are religious people like that, then it becomes a problem. In fact, if you look at the history of religion, the biggest cause of atheism is the exploitative behavior of religious people itself, of some religious heads or whatever. They were abusive or exploitative or power hungry or whatever. So wherever there is virtue, we appreciate that. So we could say virtue is like functional values, and bhakti is like the fundamental value. So ideally is if both come together. And if somebody can meet, if a person who is in sattva guna like that, or who is living a regulated life, they can meet a bhakta who can explain things properly for them, then if the both functional and fundamental values come together, such a person can be a very powerful agent of positive change in the world. Okay? So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Jai Gaur Premanande.